Good evening, DrumCorps fans, and welcome to the very first episode of the Wallach DrumCorps Review. I am your host, Landry Wallach. Now, with the 2026 audition season coming to a close and spring training closing in, I think it's very important to remember the previous season and begin to start placing our predictions for who will take home the coveted DCI Founders Trophy. When the cadets folded before the 2024 season, the 12th place spot was up for grabs, with corps such as the Madison Scouts, the Blue Knights, and the Spirit of Atlanta all eyeing their return to finals. With this being said, I would like to congratulate the Blue Knights on another successful season and welcome them back to the finals club, this time as a consistent member. The Blue Knights have had some of my favorite DrumCorps shows in recent memory, such as 2024, 2019, 2021, and 2018, but I will say this year's show was a bit of an oddball in terms of design. With Jay Bocook no longer with the Corps, I would like to commend the new arranger, Leslie Gilreath, on his fantastic direction of the 2025 Brass Book. The past 2 years have almost felt like a return to form for BK Brass, which began to struggle in comparison to some of the other corps in the past few years. As well as the brass, the use of oboe was a very bold and controversial move that I think paid off in the end, contrasting extremely well with the brass arrangement of Tyler's Water. I'm extremely excited to see the continued growth of the organization, and believe that they can take home that 11th place spot for the 26th season. Now, coming into the season, I had no idea what to expect from the Colts, and even afterwards, I still don't know. In a very welcome return to finals in 22, the Colts had a show that was very indicative of the new direction that they were beginning to head towards, and I'm glad that they have been able to continue said momentum to become a consistent finalist in the post-COVID era. Their 25 program in Restless Dreams placed 11th at finals. It was a very odd show, reminiscent of the design philosophy of the Bluecoats in many ways. Their use of No One to No One by Andy Akio was a major highlight for me, and I think that their percussion has been their strongest asset since the 22 season. The feature before the closer and return to Sound of Silence was some of the best work in the modern era. The first half of the show fell a little flat though, and did not manage to grab me as some of the other Colts shows have, such as 22 and 24. But the ballad has some amazing brass and guard work, and I'm extremely excited to see what they have up their sleeves for the next season. With the momentum they have, it would not surprise me if they maintain their 11th place spot, fighting with either the Troopers or Blue Knights next year. The 10th place corps last year was the Troopers. Their 2025 program, The Final Sunset, was the final part of a trilogy of ongoing shows since 2023, bringing back characters and themes from the previous years to wrap a neat final bow and begin a supposed new journey forward. The Western theme, which the Troopers are known for, definitely elevates the show, allowing for Troopers' iconography to not only be explored, but be seen and heard well throughout the show. Now, as always, Paul Rennick's percussion writing is just sublime, with the pearl drums cutting through the brass with ease. The ballad's use of cello with the winds, as well as the killing of the titular trooper and subsequent resurrection to Mahler's Second Symphony, made for an extremely compelling show, topping things off with a tribute to former director Fred Morris at the end. I'm extremely excited to see how they manage to top this series of shows, and to think that they can easily continue to work their way up to the 9th through 7th place spots in the following seasons. The 9th place finisher of 25 was the Cavaliers. The program, entitled Shapeshift, felt like a continuation of the issues that the Cavaliers have had in the post-COVID era. Now, I say this with no malice, and to no fault of the performers, but the design philosophy of the Cavaliers throughout the 2010s of shows about macho-ness has come to an all-time stagnation. Even with this issue, the brass arrangements of Jay Bocook, formerly of the Blue Knights, was just a major plus for me, meshing extremely well with the Cavs' battery that has seen immense success in the past 3 seasons. Going into the 2026 season, the Cavs are in a great position playing-wise, but ultimately, I believe that content and design issues will prevent them from moving back up into the top 6 for a while, staying at either 9th or 8th over the next few years. In 8th place, the Blue Stars managed to sneak their way up with their show Spectator Sport. Ever since 2022, I knew the Blue Stars were something special. Although already a consistent finalist dating back to the 80s, I think the Blue Stars have managed to up their game within the past 10 years, with shows such as The Once and Future Carpenter, In Absentia, and Of War and Peace. This show easily continues the legacy of Blue Star shows that often get overlooked. The idea of a sports-themed show, while not new, is still extremely novel. with their brass playing what I'd argue is one of their most impressive books to date. Although not a corps I got to watch much over the summer, I'm extremely impressed by what I did get to see. And I'd be shocked if they don't manage to move up to 7th next year or even crack into the top half of finals. The first of the 3 California corps on the list is the Mandarins, taking home 7th place with their show If I Must Fall. The Sacramento Corps made their first finals berth in 2018 and have managed to remain a strong contender since then, slowly moving their way up the ranks, with this year being tied as their second highest finishing placement to date. The brass arrangement in this show is just spectacular, which is to be expected from Vince Oliver. Now, after the departure of Key Poland, I didn't know what to expect, but I knew the Corps was in great hands. Furthering this, the new battery staff headed by Connor Yasuda led to an amazingly clean sound that I am shocked didn't place them higher. This is yet another Corps that I didn't get to see much over the summer as I would have liked, but I am shocked by just how far they have come since 2018 when I first saw them. And while it is sad we won't get to see them competing in the upcoming season, I truly think that they are just a few short years away from a 5th place finish, if not higher. The second Illinois-based corps is Phantom Regiment. This year's show was a nice departure from Phantom's usual style of storytelling, with many aspects and themes being left up to viewer interpretation. The whole idea of the show is that after viewed as a whole, the audience will come up with their own conclusion, in a way that's reminiscent of the shows prior to the 1990s. Of the past few years, I think that this is probably one of Phantom's best and most difficult shows. With brass arranger J.D. Shaw coming back after the 2019 season, it's been nice to hear Phantom sound like the corps they once were. Now don't get me wrong, the mid to late 2010s had some good Phantom shows, but they weren't the same after Shaw left for Vanguard. Should Phantom continue the path that they're on, it wouldn't be surprising for them to have another top 5 season like in 2024. In 5th place was the Carolina Crown and their show entitled The Point of No Return. Now, Crown has been on an odd path since 2017, with many of their shows having more flash than substance. Their brass, led by the incredible Matt Harloff, has been a major redeeming factor over the past few years, with much of their cleanliness and scoring coming from such. The general design philosophy in the post-COVID era has been all over the place, though, with shows such as 24, 22, and 25 feeling like they had good ideas but either didn't know how to execute them in compelling ways, or had to change them over and over again, leading to people believing that Crown has fallen off every year. I do love Crown, don't get me wrong, and they managed to have some of my favorite pre-COVID era shows, which makes me really excited to see the return of their older design team, leading me to believe that they can easily pull off another 3rd place finish in the upcoming years, bypassing that 4th place crown curse. The second of the California corps is the Blue Devils. Now, I am a major Blue Devils fanboy, with 2019 being my all-time favorite show, but I truly believe that the past 2 seasons have been a very odd couple of off years for the corps. You're telling me that the all-time greatest corps with 22 championships made their first 4th place finals placement since 2006, and it had everybody confused and even happy? It's insane. But after the season progression, it was easy to see why they placed what they did. The show had just odd design choices as well, leading to dirty playing and an overall show that felt all over the place, thematically and in a way that I just couldn't get behind. The Corps is well known for being able to lock in during that post-Allentown final stretch, but I think this year the magic had finally began to wear out, with drums and content being the major detractors all season. I do hope that next year they see a return to form and make that 2nd place slot, if not taking 1st place. The final of the Western Corps and the bronze medalist for the season was the Santa Clara Vanguard. Vanguard has been on an odd but consistent design philosophy path over the past few years, and have even doubled down since their brief departure since 23, and that being an identity of abstractism. The show was an amazing lean into said theme, with the major elements and even instruments such as the theremin leaving the audience constantly wondering what was going on and what was next in the show. Once again, the writing of Paul Rennick is just a cheat code, with the snares alone being the absolute best in the activity, with often no competition. As well as this, the brass book, written by Evan Van Doren, was probably the hardest Vanguard brass book since Shaw left the Corps. Overall, I think Vanguard is in an excellent spot going forward, acting as if they had never left, and should they continue in the fashion that they have, then it will be an easy 3rd or 4th place finish next year. The silver medalist in the season was Canton, Ohio's very own Bluecoats. Now, I'm normally one to love the Bluecoats and usually believe that their current design team can do no wrong, but I think this show was one of their rare misses. The Observer Effect was an extremely ambitious show with many really cool parts in theory, but in practice they didn't pan out in ways that I hoped they would, with gimmicks such as sidechaining ruining what I believe could have been one of the best closers of the year. But it's probably a good thing I am not a judge, since this Corps has secured yet another medal in their recent history of greatness. With high vet retention and the amazing Kevin LaBeouf at the head of the brass caption, Blue is in an amazing spot going forward, and will not be surprising to see them win it all next year. Finally, the first place finisher and first-time champions, I would like to congratulate the Boston Crusaders on their amazing show and hard work. Their show, Boom, has set a new bar as to what DrumCorps can be, taking away many larger set pieces of the past 10 years and having many smaller parts be the main focus of the show. The drumline, which won their first Sanford Trophy, led by the incredible Colin McNutt, was just out of this world the entire season, combined with the amazing color guard and brass, which won both the Zingali and the Odds. I'm not surprised to see what they were able to take home, 3 different caption wins in one night. Now, statistically, a first-time champion has the year off after winning, but I think that a 4th place finish is still within reach for the current reigning champs. Lastly, I want to congratulate all the performers and staff on yet another amazing season, and I'm excited to see where everyone places next year. Let me know down below what your predictions are and if I missed anything. I will see you guys next week for yet another Wallach DrumCorps review.